Exit algorithms. Scale smarter. Sell stronger.
Welcome to Exit Algorithms, the podcast where we decode what it really takes to unlock growth, streamline operations, and prepare your business for a high-value exit. I'm your host, Pete Vera, and today I'm excited to introduce David Pourquery. He ran his first business at 19, worked with venture capital and private equity, and is now founder and CEO of Gross.ai, an AI-powered Google Ads management platform. David, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Hey, Pete. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you share a bit about your background and some of your business journey and what led you to...
Sure. So yeah, look, I studied computer science at university. I've been programming since I was quite young. And then when I finished that, effectively, this was during COVID, when I graduated, so there were no jobs on offer. I hadn't planned to get a job. My plan was to go travel around Southeast Asia, do some Muay Thai and chill. That was impossible, obviously, because you couldn't travel. And look, long story short, I was doing this final year thesis on how you could use AI to basically predict the success of early stage investments, so VC investments, like seed and Series A, and how you could use that to actually go find these companies even before other people can. So I was doing that thesis during my final year. A venture capital firm in London heard about me doing this thesis and then basically just said, "Hey, look, this looks great. Please come do this for us." And I was like, "All right, man, look, I have literally nothing else going on right now. I couldn't leave the house. He didn't even leave the house at the time." So I was like, "Cool, fine." Sort of fell into that. So I was there for about 7 months, which was cool. I implemented some really nice stuff for them. And then whilst I was there, a P firm heard about some of the stuff I was doing there. Different role this time, so not really just on data side, but like just more generalist investing. Long story short, ended up joining that private equity fund, small UK-based fund, I think about 500 million under management, maybe $1 billion, but on the smaller side. And then I was there for 2 years, learned a lot, really beneficial. And then from there, got recruited out by a much bigger US fund called HIG, who have, I think, 80 billion now under management. And so I went there. And I was there for 2 years, I think in total, 2.5 years. And then, long story short, whilst I was there is when I started to think about and develop what eventually became GrowAs today.
You have like a good financial industry background as well. Has that experience with private equity changed how the way you build and run your business?
Honestly, no. I would say arguably those, running your business solo by yourself. And I started this with effectively very little money, right? I had to hire a team, et cetera. So the early days were very rough. Bootstrap from zero. Yeah, I think that's completely different to the life you live when you're, sheltered and cushioned in a nice job. Absolutely nothing to do with each other. If anything, I had to unlearn a lot of the thoughts and a lot of the way they think when doing this. Maybe at a certain point of scale, it does start to become interesting, right? Maybe once we reach, 30, 40 million a year, possibly, then some of these things can start to become relevant. But otherwise, no. Otherwise, I try to forget a lot of their other ways of thinking, to be super honest.
Interesting. Yeah, not the answer I expected. What are some of the things you had to unlearn, would you say?
I definitely see it in like the more corporate world or whatever it is. Lack of urgency, right? Speed to action is unbelievable. And you can argue say that when you're closing deals, whatever, but like in the day-to-day operations of a business, in the businesses that we owned, right? Especially at my most recent firm, which were probably, between 250 and $1 billion of revenue, right? It's people heavy, people move slowly, we make decisions slowly. This is all crap, right? The way I'm running this now is like, I want time to action immediately. And if it's not perfect, I don't care. Like, we just have to go, attack, get punched in the face and figure it out on the way down, rather than get everything perfectly. Like, maybe that's just my nature, by the way. That's also probably why I hated that environment, just to be super clear. Like, whilst I was there, I was thinking, how can I leave ASAP? So, yeah, I think I had to unlearn those behaviors and those thinking patterns, like attack. You have to move quick. Yeah. Which is more in line with how I am, to be honest.
Yeah, gotcha. Makes sense. Maybe the experience with venture capital was more relevant to your,
Yes. That's an interesting one. So look, I said earlier, fully bootstrapped, so I've kept 100% ownership of the company, which for me was a non-negotiable. So like, I knew that before. We get approached by VCs all the time, even very, very big VCs. I have personal good friends of mine who are VCs, who own their own VC funds. So like, I know that world incredibly well. The reason I was so stubborn about not raising money in the early, now we don't need it, but in the early days, I definitely did. It would have definitely been helpful to have 2-3 mil in the bank, right? The reason I haven't is because what I saw a lot, and I saw this a lot, and this is what sort of broke my heart a little bit is, and I saw it countless times. You have entrepreneurs do the hard part of building a good product and building a good team. Those are the hard parts to get right. Building a good team is like very hard. Like, product is arguably easier today, but I saw this was like maybe 5 years ago when I was working in it. They do all of that hard part, but the problem is they then don't grow quick enough and then can't raise their next round of funding, and the company does, even though they have done the good things in place, right? And I saw that countless times, and I was like, I wouldn't want that to be to be me. The other thing, obviously, when when you get a VC investing, you work for that investor. Let's just be very clear. People are like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, founder. You report to investors. You have a fiduciary duty to tell those investors exactly what's going on 24/7. That as well was not something I was super on board with. Maybe that led also to a lot of mistakes early on, right? Maybe I could have course corrected a lot of dumb decisions I made. But at least this way I get to own my decisions, right? And anything that happens is because of me. And we can also pivot much quicker. So anyway, that's a long way of thinking that, yes, I definitely learned some stuff, but I would say it was not the model that I knew I wanted to go with either.
Yeah. If anything, you went the opposite direction because of that experience.
Correct. To be honest, if I hadn't worked at VC, I probably would have gone into the trap of what I see a lot of like young founders do. They get excited about the raising money bit. They get excited about the LinkedIn post. We raised 20 million to revolutionize this. You don't understand what you sort of signed up yourself into. Like, they don't actually understand the mechanics of what that relationship is like preferential shares, like all that. Most people don't see that from the outside in. So like, I knew this knowledge, which is why I was very stubborn about, I want to do it my way, basically.
Yeah, definitely. What are some of the advantages you've seen being bootstrapped?
Yeah, look, I think being able to change direction if and how. Like, just to give you some context, like, we completely, I mean, it only took me 6 months to figure out. Well done, David. But like, redo our entire, how we package our offers, how we do all of that. Before that's like a decision cycle. Oh, we need to talk about it with the board and then we'll discuss. Like, we can move on our feet as we see fit, as we see the market shifting. So like, being able to make my own decisions effectively, right? Based on the data I'm seeing, and not have to run it past anyone, for me has been very beneficial. I don't think I would have the same motivation to work as hard as I do if I had to have somebody else I have to report to. I personally don't think I would. So I think, yeah, the big one is autonomy. Also autonomy on how I want to build the team, right? Who I want to hire, fire, like whatever comes. But do we want to be remote? If we want to have an office, where is the office? Like, all these sorts of decisions I've been able to make myself. And I think that's very valuable, at least for me.
Definitely. Yeah, and you mentioned building a good team. You said, what's your process with that? Identifying good people and deciding when to hire more people?
So hard. I think you always, ultimately the decision still comes down to instinct, in my opinion, at least for me. Like, I will, end of the day, there has to be a gut intuition. Credentials, sure, you can like, look at somebody's, where they worked before, where they went to university. I personally don't care for these things at all, actually, really. I don't even ask for them. For me, it comes down to always what my gut tells me about that person. References are often useful, but I think the energy that you get from an interview, at least for me, resonates a lot. So that's one aspect, right? And the other aspect I think is important is they themselves have to understand what you're doing. Like, they have to have some conviction on their end that this is a worthwhile thing to do. If they don't, then it's not going to work out. So it has to go both ways. I think you need to be sure that they understand like your mission, the conviction behind it, and they themselves have some conviction. Even if, they might not be all the way convinced in day one, but then once they join, you can take them to like that final step. But I think that is very important for sure.
I'm curious, what does a client engagement look like at Grow As? Like, what are some of the first things you look at?
I laugh because it's just changed so much. I'll give you some context. Okay, cool. Grow As started off, so when I left my job in private equity, whatever it was, Grow As started off as a recommendations tool that used AI to hopefully improve your campaign performance. Okay, entry fee was $99. Actually, before that, it was like $49 for up to like 2K of ad spend. Tiny ticket product, but it was something that you had to come in and use. So you had to come in and use Grow As to get the benefit of it. Okay. That was like the first 3-4 months of the company was that. We released it to the world, and obviously there was actually a lot more AI hype around then, so got a lot of users, good stuff, great. Then what occurred is, it's funny, like the most demanding and annoying users were like the people who didn't know Google Ads at all. And they would be like, but like, can this not automate my entire account and like make me money while I sleep. I mean, that's a tough ask, but we can do that. So that just got me thinking, is it even possible to have full autonomy on Google Ads? When I say full autonomy, it means you connect a campaign and it optimizes it and scales it better than any team of humans physically can, because ultimately media buying is a data game, and if you can act on that data quickly, you're going to be what a human can do. Period. Simple. So that got us thinking. That basically prompted a 6-month rebuild where we went from tool, like a little tool that people had to use and log in, great, to then building our own custom models and then having full autonomy, which is we're now no longer a tool. It's grass. When someone refers to us as a tool, I do get personally very offended. We're not a tool. You don't use grass. So what happened is 1st of January of this year, we released full autonomy into the world, which means you connect a campaign and you basically, by doing that, you can fire your existing marketing agency or whatever it is. Great. So from January, I think, to April, May, was pretty crazy. We released this thing into the world and we just did this, right? So the tool days were there growing. Okay, great. We're learning a lot. We're improving the product, we're improving, etc. Second, we did that. We just went completely vertical for those 4 months, which is great. But what I realized in those 4 months as well is like, we have to alter how we serve people based on exactly who they are. So like, let me explain. A marketing agency using Grass is 10 times less, needs almost no support from us, because for them, we're really just a software execution layer. We don't get involved with their end clients. They connect their client campaigns to Grass, never tell them a thing, then can basically sit back and do nothing all day, right? And then collect the difference between what the client pays them versus what they pay Grass. They are the best customers, agencies. Amazing, we love them. Also, because they have Google Ads running around, they instantly get the value prop. It works for them from day one. It's amazing. Like, it's really validating also for me just to know, like, people who've been doing Google Ads for 20 years are like, wow, this is amazing. So that's type one. So we realize we have to serve agencies in a different way. And also they probably need different pricing. Then I think the other big shift to realize is businesses coming to us. There we have to actually treat things differently. Because we were treating initially all businesses the same. Whether you're a massive company, tiny company, where it's going to be like a done for you sort of thing. We're going to come in, we're going to get really involved, whatever. What we realized is actually this needs very different treatment.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, it sounds like started with a do-it-yourself.
Correct.
Yep, that's awesome. What's the ultimate goal with GrowAs? Do you have a 5-year plan or exit strategy or anything in place?
No, try and I think like probably short-sighted thinking, but at least because of those initial phases, which was so like brutal and tough, right? Very little money, trying to build this thing. I was thinking day to day. I was like, I literally just need to survive. I've left this job. I'm going to run out of money soon. I was living in hostels in Southeast Asia in the early days, right? Not very fun. Obviously now we're in a different place. But those early days were tough. So I was thinking day to day. I was like, look, how can I get one more customer today? How can I close X more, whatever. I think that mindset, that urgency is still a little bit there. I obviously do try and think like longer term, maybe a month out, 2 months out where we want to be. I don't have plans. Like I never started Grass with an exit in mind. So I want to make that clear. I want to ideally, if everything goes to plan, I'm still running Grass in some capacity in 5-10 years to come, right?
Yeah.
Because, at least from my perspective, our competition, the people like I am coming after personally, are the behemoth, old guard sort of marketing agencies, WPP Media. These guys manage, I don't know, $40-50 billion a year of ad spend. Like that's where I want to get to. That's my personal, I want Grass to be along those names. That takes time. That's not a 2-year, 3-year job. That's a 10-year job. So I definitely don't have a plan to exit. Obviously, we've been profitable. I had to be profitable from day one. So that's like, hopefully that keeps happening. I think there could be a future though where I replace myself as CEO and transition to a more sort of chairman sort of role. I can see that future for sure. But as of now, I think we're still so focused on the mission at hand, right? It's also a space that moves so quickly. Like I never thought when starting Grass, like we would do this full autonomy thing. I never even thought we would do like full agency. Like so much has changed in a year. I have no idea what will happen in the next year. I just don't know.
Yeah. Man, it's exciting. I'm excited to see where it goes too. A lot of small businesses are trying Google Ads and just not really getting it right. What do you see as like common mistakes businesses make with Google Ads?
Tough. So just context, we've audited thousands of accounts. Thousands. Not hundreds, thousands. So we've seen everything. And I'm still surprised, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to anybody, but I'll keep it real. I'm still surprised at how low the bar is in terms of like what we see accounts come to us with. We're spending not a lot of money in Google Ads terms, like maybe 10, 15K a month. I'm like, how are you even doing this? How are you even spending that amount of money? Like this account is a complete joke. It's a mess. Like nothing works. And if you just did a couple things right, you could actually end up spending 50, 100K a month profitably, right? So the bar, I think, is so, so low, really. We see that all the time. It's low for a lot of reasons, right? I don't know. I think it's tough. We've seen it where some business owners think they know better and think, yeah, I can figure this whole thing out. Like, Google Ads is really challenging. It's a tough thing. Changes a lot as well. Like, you need to be on the pulse of things, right? One algorithm change can completely nuke your old structure. You have to be on top of things. So that's like the one thing. It's like ignorance, maybe some arrogance. We're like, yeah, I can do this. This can't be that hard. And then your results just suck. And you're like, oh, well, Google Ads is a scam. Well, Google is worth trillions of dollars. They make hundreds of billions a year from it. It can't be such a scam because clearly they're doing something right. That's step one. And I think the other is, and this might sound a bit harsh, but I think the marketing agency / marketing landscape, the bar is really low there. Right? I think like 95% of people in that space are doing very poor work, very, very, very poor work. And as well, like, we see this as well because that when we were getting on calls sometimes and saying, hey, like we can do done for you, right? So like we're effectively now your agency. People have such an aversion to it because they've been burnt by so many agencies in the past. And it's like, oh God, it's tough. So like, yeah, I think also just the bar at the industry level is low. Why? Because like anyone can start a marketing agency. Anybody. Like you don't need some sort of credentials. You think spin up a landing page, fake some testimonials, fake some case studies, and you can start trying to sign clients. So yeah, I think the mistakes are, I didn't really answer your question, but I just saw like what we see so we can get technical if you want on the actual mistakes, like what we see. But
yeah, I'd love to get a little tactical.
Mistake number one, accepting Google's recommendations. Google will say, you should do X, Y, you should put everything on broad match, you should run just PMAX, you should do all these things. That gives Google complete control of your account, and you end up wasting a lot of money. So by de facto, like be very careful with what you accept from Google, okay? Other thing, keyword level decisions as well. Most people don't do any actual research when it comes to selecting keywords for their account, and they go they just put everything on broad. And the keyword research is like the most important. It's really, really important. Starting a new campaign from scratch. Most people overlook that. They'll just put like random keywords they think they want to show up for. That's not actually what you're show up for, by the way. So that's the other thing to make sure. Copy. I think copy is an interesting one. I think you can. I've rarely seen like awful cases where I'm like, this is insane. How the hell are you running on this? Most people seem to do okay-ish with their copy. Like a business owner knows what they want to convey. They often use AI tools to help them. So I think that's probably not so bad. The other big general issue we see is the landing page experience. So most people don't put any time or thought into building a very good landing page, which is extremely important because you can do everything perfectly correctly on the Google Ads side. If your landing page sucks, it's over. You won't, like, you're just throwing money down the drain. I think landing page is a very big one, right? Like use best principles, make sure you design it well. Yeah. High level, these are like the I think the big things I see.
You mentioned change. It's changing rapidly, of course, with AI. How has it been affecting it the most? I mean, website clicks are down right over 50%.
Yeah.
And SEO is completely different now. Yeah, what are you seeing?
So Google are going through a massive change right now. They have to, right? They were forced to do this by ChatGPT, right? So when the ChatGPT came out in late 22, it was like some big thing. I think the alarm bell started ringing in Google's office and like, okay, we need to this is going to have a very big impact on us and how people search. The problem is they can't overnight just switch off this humongous ad engine they've built that is their entire revenue center. They can't do that. So I think the short answer is they're going to do that, but slowly and over time and phased out. I think Google search will eventually look effectively just like ChatGPT does. Right now it doesn't. You still have the AI overview mode, all that sort of stuff. I think on a long enough time period, it's just exactly that. That then makes them, by doing that, they themselves, by the way, have to completely rebuild a lot of their own ad engine stuff, all that sort of thing. So yeah, so we're seeing some very big shifts. They're adapting well, right? They're a huge company. A lot of them, people counted them out early on out of the air race. They have more compute than anyone. They have a lot of talent. They're going to be just fine. Google is still going to be, I don't see it like Google's going to be out of business because that's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. But search itself is changing a lot. Like what it means from our perspective, probably a good thing for us, actually. All of this is probably a good thing for us because it means that Google's going to push a lot more, let's say, autonomy and AI inside their ad platform. And you need things to counteract that and keep the advertiser in control. That's a big thing now that we're doing on our own algorithms. Google is pushing for you to show up in some nonsensical terms, for some nonsensical things. We have stuff in place to make sure that doesn't happen. And so an advertiser who's maybe not super clued up might just give complete control to Google and then burn a lot of money. So I think probably a good thing for us overall. But yeah, they're having to change their business quite a bit, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Do you do any consulting around, just AI or just advertising on other platforms besides Google, or just staying on the Google train?
Yeah, look, so I don't want to say we've cracked Google, right? I'm like, oh, it's time to move on. It took us like a year and a bit to like get to this point where at a product level, I'm like, yeah, this is like best in class. Like no one has full autonomy, or at least we were definitely the first to have full autonomy, right? There's people who are now going to have it, of course, it's going to happen, but we were the first to have it. I debate a lot with the team, right? What's next? What's next? And there's a lot of possible avenues that we could go, right? So one of them was SEO. Like we can build something around making sure you show up in SEO results or the ChatGPT, make sure you show up there organically. The problem is, and the reason we actually haven't done that yet, not saying we won't, but we haven't done that, is because I don't know what edge we personally have in building a product around that space. Like I know what we have for Google. Like we train our models because we had all these users. We've been at it for a while. Like we definitely have an edge there. Building something brand new in a new vertical, I don't know if we have an edge in there right now. Right? So that's one thing I would say.
I'm curious how you're personally leveraging AI as well. Within your business. I'm sure it's changed. It changes every month, but since you first founded the company to now, how's it affect your day to day?
So the biggest has obviously been on the engineering side by far, right? Like without a doubt. So when I first started Grass, like I think what back then maybe took us 3 months to accomplish could have been done today in like 2 weeks, maybe less, arguably, if you really know what you're doing. So I think engineering side is we can do a lot more with a lot less people. And my expectations for what we can deliver and how quickly we can push stuff has gone through the roof. I think the turning point for that was December 2025. That was the turning point when I think Opus 4.6 came out, or 4.5, Claude Opus 4.6. That was like the complete game changer for writing code quicker, writing whatever. I saw an overnight shift. I'm not necessarily writing any code these days myself, personally, but obviously I talk to my CTO every single day. The short answer is we can do a lot more with a lot less. So that's the first thing. And then there's a lot of cool AI tools that you can use, like AI note takers, that sort of thing. I'm getting a lot of value from recording calls that we do, whether that's with existing clients, whatever, customer calls, demo calls, whatever it is. And then using AI to basically figure out, all right, what are the biggest pain points people are facing? Where do we trip up on this call? That's what I think that's super powerful. That probably wasn't doable to this level a year or two ago. But yeah, at least for me, those are like the main two things.
I think a lot of business owners can, relate to that experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. One practical takeaway for business owners wanting to get more out of their paid advertising right now.
Okay. If you're already running Google Ads and you've hired somebody to run those campaigns, or you're doing it yourself or wherever it is, go into Google Ads and then look at the change history button. Click it. That will show you all of the changes that are occurring in the account. If nothing meaningful is being optimized, or being tweaked at all, if it's been a week or a few days or 2 weeks since anybody has changed anything, you need to reevaluate what you're doing. That's my tactical bit of advice.
No, been a great conversation, David. Appreciate all your insight today. Where's the best place listeners can find you and learn more?
Sure. So our website's probably the best starting point. So growass.com. Now we upgraded from the .ai to the .com, so that's a big change, yeah. And my personal email is dp@growass.com.
Awesome. I'll leave that in the show notes. Thanks for coming on today. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, Pete. Pleasure.
Exit algorithms. Scale smarter. Sell stronger.